Iris recalled how she first met a young man in a store when he accidentally knocked over a crate of oranges. She immediately felt a certain pull and was captivated by his smile. They exchanged names, and from that day on they began living together. Later they headed to a lakeside cabin to meet Josh's friends. On the way, he gently teased her for dozing off most of the trip. She asked where they were, noting that the GPS wasn't showing anything. Soon, the couple arrived at a magnificent house surrounded by trees and flowers. The car announced their arrival, and they both thanked it. As they walked toward the house, Iris stopped. She confessed to Josh that she believed his friends didn't really like her, and worried she might say something foolish that would reflect poorly on him. Josh urged her to calm down and not imagine problems where there were none, advising her to smile more often. They were greeted by Kat, who invited them inside. Their mutual friends, Eli and Patrick, as well as Kat's boyfriend Sergey, the owner of the house, were already settled in. The host praised Iris's beauty, noting it was his first time seeing her, and she admired his home in return. Later, Kat showed them to their room, and Iris went upstairs. As she unpacked her belongings, she failed to notice a folding knife lying among her dresses. She took a shower, reminding herself she had to look happy. That evening at the table, Patrick once again told the story of how he and Eli first met. He had shown up at a carnival dressed as Dracula and accidentally stepped on the tail of a dinosaur costume in which Eli was hiding. Iris insisted their experiences were truly exciting. After all, back when Josh was still a stranger, she had looked at him and already known she was prepared to do anything to make him happy. After dinner, Patrick asked Sergey what he did for a living. Sergey joked that he often had to get his hands dirty. Meanwhile, Kat told Iris that Sergey was the perfect man, wealthy, smart, and married to a beautiful wife. As for Kat, she said she was just a pretty accessory who had to do whatever he said. She clarified that she didn't actually dislike Iris. It was just that seeing her made Kat feel replaceable. Iris didn't understand her. At that moment, Eli turned on some music and pulled everyone out to dance. Iris noticed Josh talking to Kat and led him away. Later that night, she confessed to him that she was happy to be there with him. However, he cut her off, saying he wanted to sleep. In the morning, Iris invited Josh to the lake, but he suggested she go alone while he took a shower and had his coffee. She walked to the lake, admiring the scenery. As she slipped her hand into her shorts pocket, she found the knife there. At that moment, Sergey called out to her. Surprised, he heard her respond in his native Russian. He suggested they raise a toast to love, which made Iris uneasy. She was about to head back to the house, but Sergey asked her to rub sunscreen on his back and shoulders. As she did, he suddenly embraced her, saying he'd long wanted her, claiming she was made for this. Iris begged him to let her go. Meanwhile, the friends were relaxing in the living room, reminiscing about shared adventures. Suddenly, Iris entered, covered in blood and holding a knife. When they demanded an explanation, she tried to clarify that Sergey had tried to force himself on her. She had asked him to stop, but he wouldn't listen. She pushed him away, causing him to fall and hit his head. When he came to, he grew furious and pinned her down. Then she remembered the knife. She couldn't allow Sergey to take her away from Josh because she loved him so much. At that point, Josh gave a command, "Sleep," and Iris shut down. Later, Patrick tied her to a chair while Eli gave Kat some medicine and put her to bed. Josh saw no other option but to tell the police everything. Eli agreed, though he didn't understand why Iris's aggression blocker had failed. Josh asked for a moment to say goodbye. He turned her on, and she went into hysterics upon realizing she was tied up. She begged to be let go, swearing she was telling the truth about Sergey's attack. But Josh had no doubts, because Iris simply couldn't lie. She was a companion robot he had rented from the Empathic Robotics Company, designed to provide intimate services and emotional support to her owner. Iris thought he was making a ridiculous joke. But Josh asked her what the weather was like at that moment, and she obediently recited the full forecast, from temperature to humidity. He asked about her knowledge of foreign languages, opened an app on his phone, and with a few taps, forced her to speak in Spanish, then Chinese. She could understand and produce many more languages by simply toggling a switch. Iris tried to insist she had her own memories, but Josh said they were all fake. Even their meeting at the orange display was something he selected from scenarios the company provided. In reality, company representatives had brought her to his home, and explained that during her initial activation, he had to create a romantic bond to establish emotional attachment. He could change her voice, eye color, and personality traits, and Iris herself wouldn't know she was a robot. Her primary task was to take care of him. In extreme cases, he could reset her by pressing a button behind her ear. Her emotions and intelligence, ranging from university graduate level to a simple machine with no demands, were controlled through a phone app. She couldn't lie, and moreover, couldn't harm living beings. After the engineers left, Josh sat across from Iris, entered the necessary commands, and in that moment, she saw herself back at the store, falling in love with him by the oranges display. In the present, Iris didn't understand him. She felt love, anger, guilt, sadness. She knew what pain was. But Josh explained it was just part of her programming to seem realistic. Even her tears were just water stored in a reservoir. Eventually, Iris believed him. But even if she wasn't real, she still belonged to him and wanted to return home. Josh reminded her she had killed someone, and now nothing would be the same. Kat then appeared, insisting they shut Iris down. Josh stepped away to talk with Kat. While they argued, Iris noticed the knife lying on the floor. Josh tried to convince Kat to give Iris a chance, pointing out all she'd done, and that he just wanted to say goodbye. Kat protested, calling Iris a piece of plastic. Meanwhile, Iris managed to grab the knife. She overheard how Josh planned to shut her down, open champagne, and wait for the police, because the robot had rid them of many problems. They'd been planning this for so long that now that it had worked out, he could hardly believe their luck. Josh and Kat embraced. But when he returned to the room, the freed Iris struck him, stole his phone, and ran off. Eli and Patrick saw her vanish into the woods. Later, Josh admitted to his friends that he had hacked Iris using a black market mod, raising her aggression level and disabling her built-in inability to harm living beings. If she was found and the hack discovered, he'd be in serious trouble. Eli was horrified at the idea Sergey's death had been planned. But he explained that Sergey was a very bad person, trafficking in illegal substances, weapons, even people. He offered to show them why they killed him. He led Eli and Patrick into the house where Kat opened a safe. Its code was Stalin's birthday. She showed them the $12 million they planned to steal. They had invited the couple to serve as witnesses to a murder committed by Josh's companion. Eli wanted the money split 4 ways, but the others refused to give any share to Eli's robot. Enraged, Eli put Patrick to sleep and started to argue. Josh conceded Eli might genuinely love his outdated model, but Patrick was still a robot. Besides, Eli hadn't earned the money. Josh had devised the plan and planted the knife in Iris's pocket. In the end, Eli agreed to help find the runaway robot. He took a gun from Sergey's safe and revived Patrick, inviting him to join the hunt. Meanwhile, Iris studied Josh's phone program, changed her eye color and voice, and raised her intelligence level to 100%, up from 40%. The group of pursuers split up to find her. Iris needed to get back to the house, clean up, and figure out her next move. She considered heading to the main road to hitchhike, but realized no driver would pick up someone in a bloodstained dress. Walking wouldn't work either. Josh would be home waiting to kill her. Then she remembered Josh's car could be controlled by his phone and headed back to the cabin. She ran into Patrick and Eli mid-argument. Patrick knew he was a robot but still loved Eli. Their confession was cut short by the sound of sticks snapping beneath Iris's feet. Realizing she'd been spotted, she ran. Eli shot at her but missed. Josh and Kat heard the shot and rushed toward it. Eli reached Iris first. They struggled, and Iris ended up shooting him, killing him. Josh arrived and tried to shut her down, but she escaped and got into the car. He tried to break in, but the car required Josh's voice command and refused to start. Iris remembered the phone app and mimicked Josh's voice while he smashed the window with a rock. Just as he was about to succeed, the car responded and rolled over his foot. He grabbed Sergey's phone and reported the car stolen, causing it to stop and lock Iris inside. Josh called Iris, asking her to come back, promising things would be like before, and that they'd pin the murders on Patrick. Iris refused and hung up. Josh returned to Patrick and reprogrammed him, disabling his ability to inflict harm, increasing his aggression, and ordering him to find and bring Iris back. He made Patrick his companion, replacing Eli and Patrick's memories with himself. Meanwhile, a local sheriff arrived at the car just as Iris crawled out of the shattered window. She pretended to be a foreigner, confusing the officer until he spotted the bloody knife. He drew his gun, but Patrick appeared and killed the sheriff. Then, using Josh's phone, he disabled Iris and brought her back to the house. Seeing the car and the sheriff's body, Kat was horrified and said she was leaving. Gathering the money, she admitted she had lied. Sergey wasn't a Russian mobster, just an agricultural magnate. Josh, enraged by her deception, ordered Patrick to stop her. He drove a knife into her back. Kat reached the couch, collapsed beside the unconscious Iris, and died. Later, Patrick cooked dinner. Josh seated Iris at the table and woke her while she was handcuffed to a chair. He began philosophizing about the value of life, trying to paint himself as a victim of society. Iris mocked him. pointing out he'd done nothing to better his life and that no amount of money could hide the fact he was bitter and small-minded. Enraged, Josh reduced her intelligence to 0%, turning her into an automaton. He forced her to hold her hand over a candle flame. He then called Empathic to collect her, but after the call, he ordered her to shoot herself in the head. She obeyed. When Empathic employees Sid and Teddy arrived, Josh said his robot had gone crazy and nearly killed him. Patrick, disguised as the sheriff, backed him up. As the engineers gathered the robot's parts, they explained these models recorded everything in their abdominal core. The gunshot had only disabled her Wi-Fi antenna. As they drove off, it became clear from their conversation they didn't believe Josh. Severe consequences awaited him. But before they got far, Patrick appeared in front of the car and opened fire. Sid was killed. Teddy managed to escape. Meanwhile, Iris reactivated in recovery mode and ran after them. Patrick caught up to Teddy and was about to kill him, but Iris reminded him of his love for Eli. Patrick remembered and took his own life with a stun gun. Back at the house, Josh was stuffing money into a bag when he heard footsteps. Thinking it was Patrick, he turned, but it was Iris. She announced that Teddy, grateful she saved his life, had given her full control over herself. She was now free. Josh tried to attack, but halted when he saw her gun. Iris said she'd come back to tell him he was no longer her master. Enraged, he lunged at her, wrestled the gun away, and forced her to admit he was everything to her. Just as he was about to shoot her in the abdomen, she killed him with an electric skewer. The next morning she showered, peeling burnt skin from her arm to reveal the metal beneath. She gathered the money and drove away. On the road, she passed a car carrying a man and a companion who looked like her. The robot smiled and waved at her with its metal hand. Even though stories about humanoid robots going haywire had become cliché, this film turned out to be rather interesting and full of surprises. The only drawback was the familiar moral evil humans, good robots. But maybe that's how it really is. What did you think? Did the ending surprise you, or were you expecting it all along? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our next movie breakdown. Want more? Check out our recap of similar movie right here. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.